All right, let's talk about something that affects every single one of us, our relationship with the government when it comes to money, specifically your money. We're going to dig into a pretty radical idea today, one that could totally flip the script on what democratic power really looks like.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You go to the polls, you cast your vote. But then you get your paycheck, you see the taxes taken out, and do you feel like you have any real say in where that cash is headed? For most of us, there's a huge gap between voting and what actually happens with our money.
So let's just dive right into that feeling. In this first part, we're going to challenge the very idea of what power even means in the systems we live in today.
The source material we're pulling from today uses this term, pseudodemocracy, and the concept is, well, it's pretty profound. The idea is that when we vote, we think we're using our power. But what's really happening is we're choosing who to give our power to. We delegate it, and once it's gone, it's not really ours anymore.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that reality. Your vote is just one factor. True, hard power, well, that often lies with whoever controls the military, the flow of money, and the information we see. A vote can be swayed or even made irrelevant by these much bigger forces.
And that brings us right to the heart of it. We hand over our political power at the ballot box, and we hand over a big slice of our income through taxes. But do we keep any control in that bargain? When it comes to our own money, the answer might just shock you.
Okay, let's move on and see how this all connects. We're going to take a quick trip back in time to really understand how little control we've had. You might think our rights as citizens have been on this constant upward path, but you'll see that in one really important area, things have been totally frozen.
This is the key idea right here: historical immobility. You know, while our civil rights and personal freedoms have made these huge leaps forward, our power over the money we hand over to the state, well, it's been completely stuck.
Okay, check this out. This table, it says it all. Just look at that column on the far right. For the slave, where everything was taken, financial control was zero, null. For the serf, giving up a piece of what they produced, control was also null. And for us today, the modern delegating taxpayer paying a coercive tax, guess what? It's still null, absolutely no direct control.
Yep, zero. A big, fat zero. That's how much direct say you've had and how your money gets spent through centuries of what we call progress. Kind of makes you think, right?
So, if we've been stuck in this rut for so long, it really begs the question, what's next? Is this it? Is this as good as it gets? Or is there another step in our evolution as citizens?
And that question brings us to the core proposal of this whole explainer. It's time to meet a new kind of citizen, a new stage in our democratic journey, the ciudadano objector, or what we'll call the objecting citizen. Now, this isn't just a fancy new title, it's a fundamental shift in identity. You go from being someone whose money is just taken to someone who contributes with sovereignty, with actual authority and a measure of control.
So what's really fascinating here is how the contribution itself changes. We move from a coercive tax, where the money is just extracted from you, to something called a condonable loan. Basically, think of it like you're loaning your money to the state, and that loan is forgiven as long as they use it properly and don't waste it on corrupt nonsense.
And here is the absolute game changer. This doesn't mean you get to pick and choose your favorite projects to fund. That would be chaos. Instead, it gives you what's called negative fiscal control. For the first time in history, you get the power to say where your money can't go. You get a veto.
And this is the tax objection. Let's be super clear. It's not the right to not pay your taxes. It's the right of non-destination. It's your legal power to make sure that your hard-earned money isn't funding something that violates your conscience or something that's just blatantly corrupt. All right, so for our final section, let's unpack what this fiscal veto would actually mean in the real world. What does this change for you, for politics, and for the government itself?
Let's break it down. First, it's a defensive power. You're not telling them what to do, you're protecting your own contribution. This creates an amazing direct line of sight for citizens to call out waste and corruption. It forces politicians to think beyond, is this legal, and ask, is this legitimate in the eyes of the people paying for it? And what's really crucial is that this isn't a left or right thing. It's a tool for everyone, no matter your politics, to stand by your principles.
The source we're exploring leaves us with this one last powerful thought. Just imagine a future where people have this power. They might look back at our time now, the same way we look back at, say, feudalism. They'd see us just paying our taxes with zero say, and they might think, wow, in a way, they were kind of like serfs of the state.
And that's the big question I want to leave you with. Have we hit a wall with a democracy that's just based on voting every few years? maybe, just maybe, the next great leap forward isn't about who we put in power, but about the real power we finally get over our own money. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.
The author is the Colombian physician specialized in management and auditing, Samuel Dangond.